In June of 79 CE, Emperor Vespasian died, and the entire Roman Empire held its breath. The throne was passing to his eldest son, a man with a reputation so violently paranoid that the public openly terrified he would become a second Nero. Looking at this marble bust of Emperor Titus, with his calm and dignified expression, it is difficult to see the monster the Roman elite expected. But his path to absolute power was paved with deep trauma. Titus wasn't born into old imperial money. He was born in a dingy slum bedroom. His family only climbed the social ladder through his father's military grit, eventually earning the young Titus a spot in the treacherous, hyper-lethal halls of the Julio-Claudian court. He received his political education at dinner. When he was just 15, Titus was sharing a meal with Prince Britannicus, the rightful heir to the empire. Someone slipped poison into the prince's drink. Britannicus slumps over dead. Titus, having sipped from the exact same cup, collapsed into a severe, prolonged illness, barely surviving the assassination plot. He learned exactly what happens to those near the throne who let their guard down. He realized that surviving Roman politics meant viewing everyone as a threat and striking before you could be struck. He applied that lesson to the battlefield. In 66 CE, a massive rebellion broke out in the Roman province of Judea. Given command of an elite legion, Titus dispensed with standard diplomacy and immediately deployed absolute, total war. During the siege of Jerusalem in 70 CE, he constructed a wall entirely around the city to cut off all food supplies, crucifying anyone attempting to escape the starvation. The famine grew so severe that the historian Josephus recorded the grim account of Mary of Bethsaida, an aristocrat who was driven to murder and roast her own infant son for food. The siege reached its climax in the summer. Roman soldiers breached the inner defenses, slaughtered the remaining population, and set the massive Second Temple on fire, looting everything of value from inside. You can still see the physical receipts of this plunder today. This stone relief carving on the Arch of Titus in Rome shows soldiers carrying the heavy golden menorah away from the burning temple. That stolen wealth would directly finance his family's new Flavian dynasty. Titus sailed back to the capital wrapped in victory, but the Roman elite knew exactly what they were looking at: a proven butcher with the stomach to annihilate a population. Back in Rome, his father made him prefect of the Praetorian Guard. Titus operated as the regime's political hatchet man. He openly utilized forged documents to frame his rivals, and famously invited the politician Aulus Caecina to a dinner party, only to have him stabbed to death before he even left the dining room. His personal life caused just as much panic. Titus began a passionate, highly public romance with the wealthy Jewish queen Berenice. The xenophobic Roman Senate hated her, terrified that an older, Eastern monarch would control their next emperor. So Titus calculated the odds. To secure his grip on power, he banished the only woman he loved. The Roman historians noted it was a separation where both parties were utterly unwilling, yet he enforced it anyway. When his father died, the man inheriting the throne was a hardened enforcer who had massacred a foreign capital, executed his domestic rivals over dinner, and exiled his own partner for political convenience. Rome braced for a bloodbath, but the bloodbath never came. The moment he took the throne, Titus abruptly banned all treason trials. He ordered informers to be publicly whipped and sold into slavery, and famously declared that any day he hadn't actively helped a citizen was a day he had wasted. This new empathetic persona was immediately tested by a string of cataclysms. Just 2 months into his reign, Mount Vesuvius erupted, burying Pompeii and Herculaneum in millions of tons of volcanic ash. Previous emperors might have ignored the distant provinces. Titus poured immense amounts of his personal wealth into the relief effort. And when a devastating 3-day fire swept through Rome the following year, he paid for the reconstruction out of his own pocket. Then came a sudden, highly lethal plague. This vector map tracks massive shipments of wild animals converging on the capital for entertainment. The Romans inadvertently built an incubation engine. A virulent pathogen crossed directly into dense human crowds. In 3 years, Titus faced a volcanic eruption, a massive urban fire, and a deadly epidemic. Yet instead of letting these crises collapse his government, he leveraged the recovery efforts to engineer the ultimate political rebrand. To heal his traumatized capital, he rushed to finish the massive amphitheater his father had started. Today, we call it the Colosseum. To inaugurate the building, he launched 100 consecutive days of lavish public games. The climax of these games featured a duel between two legendary gladiators, Varus and Priscus. They fought for hours to a complete, exhausted standstill. With neither man able to win, they lowered their swords and looked to the imperial box for a verdict. By law and tradition, one man usually had to die. But Titus made a decision that shocked the arena. He declared the match a draw and handed both men the wooden swords that signified their permanent freedom. The crowd erupted. Through thousands of calculated acts of mercy like this, the Butcher of Jerusalem had successfully rewritten his own history, earning the title, the Darling of Mankind. He was universally beloved. He had total control. And then, just 2 years and 2 months into his reign, his body gave out. While traveling to a family estate in the Sabine Hills, the 41-year-old emperor was struck by a severe, sudden fever. His younger, ambitious brother Domitian rushed to his side, prescribing a highly questionable medical treatment. He packed him into a wooden chest filled with snow, and then quickly abandoned the estate, riding hard for Rome to secure his own claim to the throne. As Titus lay freezing and dying, he reportedly looked up at the sky, crying out that he was being robbed of his life unjustly. According to the Roman historian Suetonius, his final words were simply, "I have made only one mistake." Scholars have debated that final sentence for 2 millennia. Was the mistake personal, regretting his decision to abandon Queen Berenice, or was it political? Did he realize as he lay dying that his true error was showing mercy to Domitian, a brother who had plotted against him and was now leaving him to die? We will never know the answer, just as we will never truly know the man. Because he died so young, his legacy is frozen in a brief 2-year window of extreme generosity. We are left wondering if the brutal enforcer actually experienced a profound change of heart, or if a sudden fever simply killed him before he had the chance to become the tyrant Rome always feared.